When I first got started in photography and videography, it was hard not to buy a new piece of gear every single week. And there have been plenty of times where I've bought something thinking I was gonna use it a lot, used it once or twice and never touched it again. The items in this video I've either used a couple times, never used it again, or I never really used them to their fullest potential, and I want to. This might even be a good series later on for like a follow-up or something like that. All right, first up, the Andy Cine A6 Plus monitor. I first picked up this monitor to go with my M50 in one of my first spec ads that wasn't, actually it was my first spec ad that wasn't a product video. I knew since I was going to be outside shooting a person, I wanted to, one, rig out my whole camera. So I really bought a lot of stuff for it at that time. And two, it would have just been easier to see in the sun. I've actually used it many times since then. But then after I started to get more into photography, so now I was at like a 50-50 split, I really stopped using it. And eventually I just started relying on a monitor that was on the back of the camera. Biggest thing is you can touch the focus on the camera monitor and you can't on most other monitors, if not all other monitors. But after cleaning out my camera drawers and finding it again, not that it was lost, it was always there, but seeing it again kind of made me want to start using it. And there's a ton of features on it that I know I don't use to the fullest potential. So that's all my list. I'm actually using it right now in this video, just as like a closer look so I can see what I'm shooting. Beats Studio headphones. Really any headphones, but specifically these ones. I use the AirPods Maxes when I'm editing, watching TV, listening to music, whatever it is. The Beats Studio headphones I bought during lockdown when the kids were home and it was loud. So I needed some noise canceling headphones. I've had a pair of Beats before and I just wanted to get them again and they were on sale. What I was actually planning on using them for now is to monitor audio when I'm shooting an interview or something that has audio going on. Plug them into the camera. I know they're not the best option to do that, but they're not the worst either. And I already have them. I want to, one, monitor audio more often, two, use the Beats to do that. The Insta360 Go 3. This one I just bought recently, but I don't want it to end up on this list a year from now, and I kind of have a feeling that it might. The idea, I want to start using it for POV shots when I'm shooting a wedding or shooting a photo shoot, something like that. Just have it magnetically clipped onto me or on a hat or something. I was back and forth between the Pocket 3 and the Insta360 Go. I know I'm going to end up getting the Pocket anyway, but I wanted something for POV shots, something small, discreet, so I can wear it at a wedding without looking like, what are you doing? And then also just use it to get some interesting shots that you wouldn't be able to get with a bigger camera. The Tamron 24mm f2.8. This was one of the first lenses I bought for my A7 IV. It was a fairly inexpensive lens, 200 bucks. I knew I wanted either a 24 or a 35mm. I decided to go with the 24 because then I can always just put the camera into Super 35 mode to turn it into a 36mm. Trying to give it another chance. I'm shooting it with it right now. But the problem with this lens is it is freaking loud. The focusing motors on this is not quiet. So anytime you're using the audio straight from the camera, or if you have a shotgun mic on the camera instead of a lav mic like this over here, it'll get loud. And you will hear every single time that that lens moves. Also, the more I use 24mm, the more I think I'd rather 35. The Moses SliPod E. This looked so cool and I convinced myself I needed it. I thought of all these life-changing things I can use it for. Oh, this can be used for product videos, for interviews, for moving products themselves. There's so many things. But I thought the Tamron lens was loud. This is another level. So if you're doing anything with audio, this is not usable. Recently, I will say, they had a software update, a firmware update, and it added a quiet mode into it. So I want to try it again, see how that goes. It's not silent, but it's definitely quieter. I almost bought an electric slider on Black Friday, but then I remembered that I have this thing. So that kind of prompted me to be like, all right, you know what? Let me start using it a little bit more, see what happens. A matte box. So there's really three reasons why you would buy a matte box. One, so you can flag and kind of block the sun a little bit. Two, if you have different filter size lenses, you don't have to worry about buying an ND filter for each and every size. You can just use one size for all your lenses. Three, this is the reason I bought it, it makes your rig look badass. And I've used it 2 times maybe. Like and subscribe below if you've been in the same boat. So I want to start using it, one, the correct way, and 2, more often. Camera cage. So this one is kind of like with an asterisk next to it because I actually do use a cage a lot on my camera, on my A7 IV, but usually 90% of the time it's just the camera cage with the hand strap. And that's my run and gun setup most of the time because it's easy to switch photo to video with that. I don't have too many other things on it. But I have all the parts for a fairly rigged out setup. So I want to start using my camera cage more like what I originally intended to use it for, which is a decent camera rig. Not too crazy, not too over the top, but gets everything I need to done. S-Log 3 on the Sony a7 IV. This was one of the big reasons why I wanted to buy this camera, was because I wanted to be able to do some more color grading and have a nice log format to use. But guess what? I've never once touched S-Log 3. S-Cinetone is usually my go-to because it comes out of the camera looking pretty good, and then it just needs a very slight addition in post, and then you're done. But I really want to push this camera to see what it can do, especially because I'm already thinking about what options I have for upgrading, even though I know I don't need to. So let me get as much use out of this one as I can. The DJI RS3 Mini. I love gimbals. I think gimbals are awesome. I love using them. I had an SC2, or maybe it was a 1, I don't remember. And I used that with my M50, even with this one, the a7 IV. But now I have the RS3 Mini. I bought that, 1, because it's light, and 2, I wanted something easy to switch between horizontal and vertical, and this has that mount built into it, where the regular RS3, you'd have to buy that piece separately. This is another one where I've used this specific gimbal handful of times. But when it came out and I saw that it can go vertical, I had to have it. I was one of the first to have it, so I need to get back to using it. Atmosphere spray. This stuff is pretty cool. I used a fog machine for a bunch of different shoots, different product videos, and I like it a lot. The problem with a fog machine, 1, it kind of has a smell to it. 2, it can leave like a film over the stuff that you're using. So I don't love using that and getting it all over my camera gear or whatever product that I'm shooting. So then I discovered atmosphere spray. It's like fog in a can, you spray it, and then it gives you like a nice haze in the background. Seeing that this existed, I said, oh, I'm gonna be using this all the time. It's $40 for 2 cans, and I've used it twice. If you wanna try any of this stuff yourself, I've got links to everything below. It does help a small channel out.